What's up, everyone? My name is Mistic. Welcome to Mistic Rex. Today's video by Tierzoo, optimizing the snake build. Now, if you've seen me before, this might come to a surprise, but I actually really like snakes. I actually knew someone who had like a bunch of snakes, and I loved holding them. Too bad they were very insane and led to cops and a person hiding out in our attic. So, no more snakes for me, unfortunately. But I do like snakes a lot. I might get one day when I have better financial security. But let's see how to optimize the snake build. Check the video down below.
A lot of people have been asking me to do guides on specific builds, and I'm happy to oblige. Today, we'll talk about the most difficult of the reptile builds, the snake.
Yeah.
Now, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not sure why you'd ever want to try the snake build.
It's cool. It doesn't have to be, super OP. Is there a bat on here? No. Aww.
Snakes are, in general, low tier, averaging
But
in the
they're
D+
cool.
range. Not only that, but their gameplay is some of the most difficult content you'll ever experience. If you ask me, it's a little silly to use so many points to spec into the reptile faction and then opt to not have legs. With that said, even though most snake builds are low tier, if you really know what you're doing, you can make one of the most formidable builds possible.
That
Today,
looks so
we'll
cool.
go over the most viable options as well as common mistakes many snake players make.
Okay.
You have to be careful since there are a lot of enticing skills that can end up wasting a perfectly good build in the long run. Let's begin by
Can they
discussing
have
the main
fall
traits,
damage?
strengths, and weaknesses of your snake build.
Okay.
As previously stated, the most defining trait is opting to not give your character legs. This has a few
Mobility.
benefits. It opens up a
Ooh.
lot of unique movement options like
I used to
slithering,
live in a brick
sliding,
house.
sidewinding, and even gliding in some cases. Access to secret areas of the map normally blocked off by tight access points become
I used to be so paranoid of this, but specifically for spiders and like other bugs, like I was so paranoid. Thankfully, it never happened. I think, yeah, but I was so paranoid that something would just come out of the toilet. It was a big fear for a little bit after I saw like these type of videos with snakes coming out of the toilet. Or like those parasites that come up when you pee. That is terrifying. Never happened,
available to
please.
snakes. This can net more exclusive access to food, shortcuts, and escape routes. In my opinion, this doesn't fully negate the negatives of having no legs, but credit where credit is due, it's not the worst trade. But how can you
low
maximize the
HP,
evolution points you gain by dropping legs as a spec? Well, there are a lot of interesting options. Advanced tracking abilities, extremely potent venom, climbing, camouflage, the ability to traverse ocean, ability to scale walls, feign death, produce musk, the list goes on. But before you get too fascinated by the abilities of the snake class, be warned. There are only 3 competitively viable snake builds in the current meta.
Really?
The rest, I'm sorry to say, are pretty unremarkable and no doubt low tier.
Aww.
Even the official game wiki refers to the typical, most popular snake builds as a garbage group. So if you take anything away from this video, understand that vanilla snake builds are not worth your time. But I'm getting sidetracked.
I like them.
Let me get back to the 3 viable builds.
Okay.
I'll go through them one at a time from worst to best, as well as the special characteristics that make them so strong, and any shortcomings they may have.
Okay.
The first viable snake build is the Constrictor. This includes boas, pythons, and anacondas. It's the only snake build classified as a tank, with high HP,
The person I knew.
thick, scaly hide. But more important than the snake's defense is its unparalleled grab game. A well-spec'd Constrictor build can 0 to death any player they manage to grab. If we compare the Constrictor's grab to other high-level grabs, we can see that it sits among the best grabs in the game. Now, the Constrictor build is not perfect by any means. Best grabs in the game.
Roadhog.
Now, the Constrictor build is not perfect by any means. It's not low tier, but I'd say it maxes out around the bottom of B tier for a few reasons. Constrictor snakes are huge,
Good
and this
HP
comes
though.
at a cost to speed, Because of that, they need the element of surprise to secure a grab. The problem with that is, again, they're huge, so it's not easy to hide.
Right.
And secondly, constrictors are a tank build, but completely lack the ability to deal with groups of
They're
enemies.
a tank build?
Sure, they're pretty overpowered in a one-on-one situation, but a fully executed grab combo takes a long time to perform, making it impossible to fight a group of hostiles, and will quickly be overwhelmed by a coordinated assault. Not much else to say about this build, so let's move on to number 2.
Okay.
The second most viable build is the Pit Viper.
Whoa.
Unlike the Constrictor build, and also unlike most other garbage tier snakes, the Pit Viper class specs pretty deeply into the Venom tree.
Pain.
But Tierzoo, I hear
Objection.
you say. Didn't you rip on Poison Dart Frogs for doing that?
Yep.
No, unlike the Poison tree, the Venom tree is absolutely worth diving into.
Really?
Poison is valuable for defense up to a certain point, but the thing to keep in mind is that you're always going to be at a negative if you actually have to use it, because for its effect to activate, you actually need to take a significant hit. Venom, on the other hand, is an offensive tool, which can allow its wielder to score kills much easier or defeat opponents that would otherwise be way out of their league. More powerful Venom effects only make you a more dangerous opponent,
super low HP.
something to fear instead of something to avoid. Anyways, Vipers are generally defined as having spec'd into 2 main abilities. The first is their Venom.
Disruption.
The Venom tree is pretty diverse with a lot of interesting effects, but the Pit Viper build chooses 2 of the most important effects available: Hemorrhagic Toxin and Tracking Compounds. The typical strategy of a Pit Viper player is to sit and wait for a target, which is aided by their high-level camouflage, and to score a single hit before retreating. Hemorrhagic Toxin is not a fast-acting Venom type, but has extremely high raw damage over time. With that in mind, the second effect of the Pit Viper Venom comes into play, one being very low base HP and defense. Intimidation and stealth are really the only things preventing you from getting killed, so if a player with high resolve detects you, there's not much that can save you. Remember, this class has slow-acting Venom, so it won't be able to kill something before it has the chance to kill you, or at least do some serious damage. All in all though, great build. Unique, fun, and powerful. I'd place them at the bottom of A tier.
Okay.
And finally, the best, most well-optimized snake build, the Cobra.
Ooh.
Cobras are pretty similar to the Viper build, but a bit more well-rounded. While Vipers are more effective at stealth and critical strikes, Cobras are just an all-around more powerful class, excelling at both offense and defense, with a few unique abilities of their own.
Intelligence.
They are larger and therefore less stealthy, but bulkier and more heavily armored. And they also spec into the Venom tree in a different way that I believe is more well optimized for versatility.
Okay.
The venom of a cobra is different than that of a viper, in that while a viper bite causes hemorrhaging, cobras carry a potent neurotoxin.
So this is quicker, right?
Neurotoxins are much faster acting than hemorrhagic toxins because they quickly induce paralysis, which results in suffocation instead of waiting for the victim to die from internal bleeding.
That's what the
This is important because it means a cobra bite is much more effective as a defensive weapon as well as an offensive one. Cobra players rarely need to actually bite in self-defense anyway though, since they possess one of the most effective intimidate moves in all of Outside. A combo of flaring their cape and hissing, enough to drop almost any aggressor's resolve to 0. However, if this fails, a few advanced Cobra players have unlocked an extremely rare method of self-defense, a tactic which allows the player to deal damage while not putting themselves at risk. A ranged attack. The ability to deal damage and status effects over...
I can actually kind of do that sometimes. Not on command, but I can kind of do that every now and then.
A distance is extremely powerful and has only been unlocked a few times in the entire player base. The Cobra's ranged attack inflicts permanent blindness if it connects, rendering its target effectively helpless.
Mine doesn't do that. It's just
the combo of versatile venom, excellent defensive options, and daunting intimidation effects puts the Cobra class in high A tier. So in summary, the 3 best snake classes are Constrictor, Pit Viper, and Cobra, each with unique traits that allow them to surpass the normal limits of what snake builds can do. Thank you for watching, and if you've got a build, playstyle, biome, or any other aspect of the meta that you'd like me to analyze, leave it in the comments.
And so with that, what I'm hearing is Bat is still number 1 because we were S tier. But humans are obviously higher, unfortunately. But bats are, and I meant to say snakes, but snakes are still super cool if they're not, overpowered. They are still super cool and worth trying a, a, a playthrough of. But I don't think I would ever switch off the bat and elf playthrough. Let me know what you would do. And until next time, bye bye.